Healthcare, Walmart, State Level Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Celebrity Homelands, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Fox Curley Wealth Management.
Yay, thank you to our great sponsors. And by phone, we have the all-famous, so excited about this interview, Tom Malone. Good morning, Mr. Malone.
Good morning.
How are you today, Becky?
We are fantastic. And, of course, this is Becky. I've got Laura with me, so we're over the moon. If your ears had to be burning before we got on this phone call.
Indeed.
Yeah. So you are actually in California, am I correct?
Yeah, moved to Los Angeles, yes, Woodland Hills.
Yeah, so what is it? Is it 5 o'clock in the morning there?
It's 5 in the morning, I know. What are you doing up at this hour?
I love that. What kind of mischief are you up to? Or the question is, have you been to bed? That's...
Well, I got a little sleep, yeah. I got a little sleep.
Well, and earlier in the week when we talked, you were actually in Orlando, Florida, so you kind of go all over the map, don't you?
I fly all over the place. I was in Vancouver Island for the Music Fest. I was in Napierville for the Jazz Festival. I'm going to, oh my goodness, Denton, Texas for the Jazz Festival coming up. I played with Gary Sinise, Lieutenant Dan Band for the DAV convention in Orlando. Yeah, I go to the airport to go to work. It's crazy life.
And then coming up, we're super excited. Next Friday, I know where you're going to be.
Oh, yes. We're going to, the prison in Joliet from the movie.
Uh-huh.
Joliet, Jake, and Elwood Blues. Well, the prison is no longer in existence.
Right.
They have taken the site and turned it into a Blues Brothers museum. And they've reconstructed the interior of Bob's Country Bunker and several other scenes from the movie right there on the set. And I thought some of your listeners might be interested in the creation of the Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers almost never got off the ground. I was March 1978. I actually, the whole story is that I was in the original band at Saturday Night Live from 1975 to 1985, and I was the music director from 81 to 85. Anyway, I was the arranger for the show. March 1978, I get a call from Howard Shore, the music director. He says, "Can you meet with Danny and John in John's office at 2 o'clock on Monday?" Sure. Here's what had happened. Our general production schedule at Saturday Night Live was we would do 3 shows and then take a week off. So during the week off, John and Dan went to San Francisco just to hang out and see some friends. And so Saturday night, before this meeting, they hung out all night with a guy named Curtis Salgado. By the way, Curtis Salgado was the opening act for the show on Friday. Curtis Salgado is a famous blues harmonica player who at the time was playing with Robert Cray's band. And they stayed up all night and listened to blues records. Now, John Belushi was from Chicago, but he didn't really know anything about Chicago blues. He played in a kind of a garage rock band. And I just found a picture of the band. I'm going to post it on Facebook. The Ravens. But anyway, Danny was part of the blues scene in Toronto. He used to jam at X-Ray McCrae's Club on Queen Street, and he knew all about the history. So on the plane the next day, Sunday, they're flying back to New York. Dan starts telling John about the history of blues music. The guys come up from the Delta, Mississippi, and stop in Memphis and jump on the train and go to Chicago. And so on the plane, they came up with these 2 characters, and that was what they told me about at the meeting at 2 o'clock. They wear sunglasses day and night. They wear the black suits, and they're orphans, so they have very little emotional response to anything, and they're sort of ne'er-do-well musicians. And so I wrote an arrangement of a song called Rocket 88, and we rehearsed the Saturday Night Live band, and they're dancing around on the stage. We did it for Lorne Michaels, the producer, and we did not make the show. So yeah, I know. And we were all let down. So the following week, I wrote an arrangement of another song called Hey Bartender, and I rehearsed the Saturday Night Live band. We did it for Lorne Michaels. Lorne shot us down week number 2. He says, "Frankly, I don't see anything funny about the Blues Brothers." So the 3rd week, I called Danny and John, and, "Hey, Blues Brothers?" They said, "We're wasting our time if Lauren doesn't like it. If we're not getting on, we got to move on." So the 3rd week, Lauren comes out of read-through Wednesday about 3:15, and he says, "The show's 3 minutes short. What are we going to do?" And John and Danny jumped on him and said, "Lauren, the Blues Brothers, Lauren says, we have nothing worthwhile to put in those 3 minutes. You guys might as well make fools of yourselves. He put the Blues Brothers on the show. And I think the rest is history.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. I wonder if he ever thought, I almost missed that. I mean, if that opportunity, if those 3 minutes wouldn't have been, the world might not have known, which completely, would have changed our world if we wouldn't have had the Blues Brothers.
Well, there wouldn't be any Tom Bones Malone for sure. We had a meeting when at a certain point, we decided we were going to make the band separate from Saturday Night Live. So John and Dan chose Lou Marini and myself and Paul Schaefer and Steve Jordan to be in the band. And I was going to be the horn arranger, and if I needed another horn, it was my decision. So I got Alan Rubin in the band. So we have a meeting over at John's apartment, 60 Morton Street in Greenwich Village. And he says, well, now we have also I recommended Steve Cropper and Doug Dunn because we had played together in a band with Wslm Helm, and I knew that they were the guys, and I recommended them, and they hired them. So John says, now we have a Donald Duck Dunn and a Matt Guitar Murphy, and now everybody has to have a middle name. And if you can't come up with a middle name of your own, we'll make one up for you. So I just immediately blurted out Tom Bones Malone, because somebody in high school had given me that nickname. Didn't really stick, but it just sounded right for that moment. And John says, that's it. And Lou Marini says, how about Blue Lou Marini? Bang, that's it. And John made up Alan, Mr. Fabulous Rubin, and he made up Steve, the Colonel Cropper. But so, yeah, it just kept rolling along. We went up to the amphitheater in Los Angeles and recorded a live album that immediately sold 3 million copies. We had a hit single on Soul Man. And then Danny starts writing a movie script. One night after Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live was a real live show. And at 1 o'clock in the morning after the show's over, Danny says, Bones, do you think you could come up to the office and talk to me about your life for the movie? So I went up there and told him stories about playing in sleazy clubs in South Mississippi. When I was 14, I started playing in rock and roll bands, playing saxophone. And one of the clubs I played in had chicken wire over the bandstand. So I told him that story. And there you go, Bob's Country Bunker.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh my gosh. It's so cool to connect the dots like this. This is so awesome. So going back on the, let me go back. There's a lot of things that I need to find out a little bit about yourself and who inspired you and how did you get, who taught you how to, play the instruments, and you play several instruments. You're not just a one instrument man. You can play several instruments.
Well, in the Blues Brothers, I played trombone, trumpet, tenor sax, and baritone sax.
Yes, absolutely.
On the David Letterman show, I was in the band there for 22 years with Paul Schaefer, Ranger, a musician. I played baritone sax, bass trombone, trumpet, flugelhorn, piccolo trumpet, alto sax, tenor sax, baritone sax, flute, piccolo, and alto flute. That was my chair. I record a whole big band at my house. I have a recording studio here with Pro Tools 11, Neumann U87 microphone. I'm working on my own album that will be just me. It's a whole big band, but it's just me, one track at a time. Typical recording has 2 alto saxes, 2 tenor saxes, a baritone sax, 4 trumpets, 3 trombones, and a bass trombone, bass piano, and drums.
Wow.
So I started out.
I'm over my head. I'm completely over. My mouth. I got to pick my mouth back up here. It's dropped.
I was on the farm in South Mississippi, and I was in the 6th grade. And when I went to the school it was South Mississippi, in the middle of nowhere. We lived on the farm, milked cows every morning and every night, picked corn, hauled hay, grew everything we ate except for coffee and rice. And so I was in the 6th grade. Our classroom, the school was 1 through 12. So the classroom was next to the football field, and I'd hear the marching band rehearse for the show on Friday night for the football game. And there's something about the music that rang in my ear. One day they said, anybody wants to be in the band, come to the band room on Thursday night, bring your parents. So I show up there with my parents and my brother, and the guy from the instrument store has this stuff laid out there, and I picked up a trombone, and I could almost play it. Dad says, how much is it? The guy told him the price. Dad says, can't afford it. We're walking out of the place, and the band director grabs me and my brother, and he says, the school has 2 tubas. you don't have to buy anything. You want to play tuba in the band? And I'm like, sure. So learned to play the tuba.
Oh,
The next year we got a new band director, and he was a trombone player, professional trombone player, president of the union in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He saw me looking at his trombone one day in his office. Said, "You want to play that, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." I explained my problem. So he loaned me his personal trombone. He showed me where the positions were, and he gave me a beginner book and says, "Go on and learn how to play it." So I did, and I was first chair in about 3 weeks. And meanwhile, my little brother got a cornet, and when he wasn't playing his cornet, I learned how to play that because I knew it was just a tuba, 2 octaves higher. Then when I'm 14, some kids come over to my house, a couple of guitar players and a drummer and a sax player, and they said, "We're starting a rock and roll band. You want to be in it?" I'm like, "Sure." So I got out my trombone, and they looked at me like I'm crazy, and I said, "What's up?" This is 1960. And they said, "You don't have trombones in rock and roll bands." I said, "Well, what do I have to do? I want to be in the band. I want to hang with the guys. I want to meet girls." And they said, "You got to play saxophone." So my friend Alan had a alto and a tenor with him, and he started showing me how to play tenor sax right then and there. And I was motivated because I wanted to be in the band. And so we were doing gigs in about a month, and we worked up some songs that night. So now I'm 14 and I'm playing tuba, trombone, trumpet, and tenor sax. And so it just went on from there.
Wow.
I started arranging music when I was about 13. I heard a record on the radio, and I just wanted to know why it sounded that way. And so I started transcribing all the notes. And later I went to college. I took a course called Music Theory 101. So I answered all the questions for the first couple of weeks, and then the teacher takes me out in the hall, and he says, "You don't have to come to class anymore. You get an A. You already know all this stuff." It sort of taught myself music. So I changed my major to psychology, and I found psychology much more fascinating. I went on to North Texas State, and I was lead trombone in the 1 o'clock band there, and lead trumpet in the 3 o'clock band. And I continued to play multiple instruments professionally. And one day I just moved to New York and started over. And lucked out, met people, boom, boom, boom. And next thing you know, I was playing with Doc Severance's weekend band. And then I moved to L.A. and played with Frank Zappa. Did 3 tours with him. Moved back to New York to play with Blood, Sweat, and Tears in 1973 primarily as a trumpet player. And then Gil Evans for 15 years, and then Billy Cobham, and then Saturday Night Live, and then anybody out there remember a group called The Band from Woodstock?
Yeah.
Okay, I went on the road with them in the summer of '76. I was in a movie called The Last Waltz that was filmed on Thanksgiving by who was the famous director? Anyway, it was my career just took off. Saturday Night Live started in 1975, and all kinds of good things happened.
Now, was that like was that something like, had you had a dream of being on Saturday Night Live? Was that something like something your personal goal that you wanted to reach?
Well, it just, a door opened and I walked through it. You never know where you're going to meet people or what's going to happen in your life until it happens sometimes. Anyway, so when I moved to New York, I just called this guy up and I said, "Can I crash on your floor?" And he said, "Yeah, come on up." So I did. I crashed on this guy's floor. And one day the guy went back on the road and he left me this cheap apartment. And so this friend of mine, a black jazz trumpet player named Hannibal Marvin Peterson, calls me up from Texas. He says, "I want to move to New York. Can I crash on your floor?" And I said, "Sure, come on up." So Hannibal Marvin Peterson, the jazz trumpet player, started playing with Rahsaan Roland Kirk and the Gil Evans Orchestra. And one night he had 2 gigs. And the one with Gil Evans didn't pay anything. So he said, "You want to cover for me playing trumpet with Gil Evans?" Gil Evans is a famous arranger. Yeah. Yeah, and so I show up for this free gig, and I meet all these people that changed the rest of my life. Howard Johnson, the famous jazz tuba player. David Sanborn. Let's see. Bruce Ditmas, the drummer. Lou Soloff, the trumpet player from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Dave Bargeron, the trombone player with Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Just a whole boatload. Billy Harper, whole boatload of people. Howard Johnson liked me because he played a lot of different instruments, and I played a lot of different instruments. And he was a jazz tuba player, and he just inspired me to play jazz tuba. And when we started playing together with Gil Evans, and when they asked Howard to you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
It might even be a free gig.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, really the doors have been just, I mean, open. I mean, like these stories, I mean, it's like, who does this happen to, right?
Right place, right time.
No, but there's for the viewers out there that are interested in this career or any other career, the most important thing is to be nice to people. Just be nice to everybody, and you'll be surprised how many doors will open.
Right.
In my lifetime, that's come to pass so many times. Example of being nice to people. When I was at Saturday Night Live, I was a music director. There was an intern named Rich Gentile, and intern is thought of as it's like a free job for students, and a lot of people think, well, the music directors are way up here and the interns way down there. Well, that's not the way I think. Everybody is on the same level in the eyes of God. So you just have to be nice to everybody. And Rich was a nice guy, and we just became friends. And one day he says, Bones, I got a job, entry-level job at NBC Sports. I'm like, congratulations, Rich. I wish you good luck. He says, Bones, if I ever need a band, I'm going to call you. So I didn't think about that very seriously, but what a nice thing for the kid to say. 4 years later, Rich calls me up and he says, Bones, he says, I'm the producer of the Fox 5 sports show in Chicago. Said, we need a theme for our show. Do you think you could write one? Well, yeah, I could write one. I wrote one and recorded it and sent it in, and it ran for years. And same guy, Rich Gentile, a few years later, he says, Bones, he says, I'm producing 4 TV specials for Coca-Cola in Atlanta. It's called Coca-Cola Backstage at the World Cup. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the Coca-Cola Backstage at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the Super Bowl's on Sunday. So you want to be the music director? Do you want to bring a band from New York? Do you like some arrangements? Yeah. So that was another big success. And then he calls me up a few years later and says, Bones, he says, I'm producing a special for Coca-Cola in Los Angeles, backstage at the World Cup, at the Universal Lot. And it's going to be Saturday night, and then the World Cup finals are Sunday. You want to get a band together? Well, yeah. I had Jeff Skunk Baxter from the Doobie Brothers, Terry Bozzio, drummer with Frank Zappa. I had the Jerry Hay horn section that played on 3,000 hit records in Los Angeles. And so you never know who's going to open a door for you.
Yeah.
The key to it is to be nice to everybody. Don't ever think you're the hot stuff and somebody else is not.
Love that. So, you go back, I mean, that person, the teacher that did the trombone and that start there, have you ever had the desire to actually become like a teacher? Or is that something?
Well, that really hasn't been, I do go to colleges and lecture.
I wonder, yeah.
Stories like the stories I'm telling you.
Good.
But I tried to do one-on-one lessons when I was in New York, but I'd make appointments and then I'd get called for studio recordings, and that wasn't fair to the students to make an appointment and then cancel it. I had one guy that was wanted to come up from Philadelphia and who became a famous trombone player, Andre Hayward, but it just wasn't. So I had a few students, but it just wasn't fair to them to make appointments and cancel. So I've left that up to teachers, but I do occasionally run into people at colleges and places. I do jazz festivals, and I'll try to give them a few pointers if I can. I'm very systematic about the way I play the instruments, and I can relate that to people, and they can understand it. The International Trombone Association is quite a good organization for that sort of thing.
Is that, which would be your favorite instrument, I guess? Would it be the trombone?
No, I guess the trombone, because I end up playing that the most. But I just want to play. If the band already has a trombone player, I'll play trumpet, I'll play sax. I don't really care. If the band already has 3 horns, I'll play bari sax. I can make up parts. I know how to put arrangements together. I know what notes to play.
I love that. So going back, okay, like some of the other, like the behind the scenes, when like you're filming and you're with the Blues Brothers and you're with these, how do you, like, is it hilarious? Tell us a little bit how it is on this set. I mean, like, do you have times like that you just like can't stop laughing, or is it something that like is pretty serious, or how give us the mood or the vibe, I guess?
Well, it varies from scene to scene. You never know what's going to happen, but the director, he would always tell the band, he says, don't act.
Okay.
Just read the parts. Just read the cards. Because none of us are really actors. We're just musicians. So he would just say, don't act. Just read your lines, and look at the camera. And so he was a calming force. Because some people would get nervous on the set because none of us were really actors. But somehow we pulled it off.
Oh boy, did you! So did it take a lot of takes, or was it something that just you got it the first time, one and done?
Well, there was usually more than one take on everything. People like Alan Rubin turned out to be a brilliant actor, and Willie Hall wasn't bad either.
Yeah.
Murphy Dunn was actually a professional actor. He was, the exception in the band. He was really, he had been in some movies like The Big Bus, and he was a professional actor. They didn't have to tell him what to do, but the rest of us, we were just kind of roaming around on the stage and somehow pulled it together. If we were playing music, if you're shooting us playing music, they didn't have to say too much. They just we'd go to makeup and hair and wardrobe, and everybody was all spiffy, and they made us look good. And lighting and camera, it all sort of comes together there.
We know all about lighting for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Most of my experience as far as being on camera has been from live TV shows. Letterman, Saturday Night Live. I've been on 4,500 live TV shows.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about the Saturday Night Live, and tell us a little bit of difference between that and Letterman. I mean, I guess how it runs. Okay, like Letterman, they have the band, and then they break the commercial, and then is that when you guys are playing, or kind of tell us a little bit the format on some of that? It's always
okay. So Saturday Night Live was actually really live. They turned on the cameras. We were actually we were there in the studio at 11 p.m. talking about staying up all night.
Yeah.
We were actually there at 11:30 p.m. when the show started, and we went till 1. And we were actually on stage while they were shooting. And the funniest things to me was when one of the props didn't go off. The sofa was supposed to fall down, and it didn't. And stuff like that. And that was the funniest thing, because they'd have to improvise to make things pull together. And the Letterman was actually we generally taped from 4:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. And when we played, like when we started a commercial, we actually played the whole song. And then they the producers and writers would be up at Dave's desk talking during the commercial. And it wasn't sometimes the commercial break would be slightly longer than the real commercial break. But we just played for the audience, and then they would it was just random when they would shoot the band going out of commercial. Mm-hmm. So we actually played the whole song. There are some other shows like Letterman where they just play a little music to go out to commercial, and they stop playing, and then they start playing someplace else in the arrangement to come back. But we actually played the full song through, and at least we entertained the audience. I know the audience that watched the show frequently wanted to hear the whole song.
Oh, absolutely. So,
I think Paul and the band should go back in and record the whole song for those songs that we always played, because that's what people really want to hear.
Oh, absolutely. Did you take requests, or did you just come up with your own songs?
No, Paul just he would just randomly come up with songs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like wow. I mean, you've really seen a lot, and I think you have to have a lot of to actually be playing, and then not to be cracking up. I think the people that you worked with would have to be. I'm sure that you don't feel like you've ever really worked a day in your life, because you've really loved everything, every part of this.
Well, that's true. A lot of people hate their job, they hate their boss. I can't wait till I retire. They retire, they sit around and watch TV for a couple of years, and they're dead, because that playing music for me is not working. That's why they call it play music. It's something I've always enjoyed doing, and it just keeps me going. And I'm glad that I've been able to be paid to do something I enjoy.
Right. So what about, I know you're actually, not living in Chicago, but what's your love for Chicago? Because, this is like a love letter to Chicago, this whole movie.
Well, yeah, the fact that it's in Chicago, currently I play with Gary Sinise and the Lieutenant Dan band, and most of the people in the band are either from Chicago or live in Chicago. And when we do charter plane trips out, we meet up at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. So that's very much the center of the Blues Brothers movie. That's where it all takes place. Right. Even though we did all the interiors in Los Angeles at Universal, it's a Universal lot.
Oh, did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. They actually constructed Bob's Country Bunker out on the back lot, and the exterior, and they actually constructed in one of the studios, sound studios, they constructed the interior of Bob's Country Bunker complete with the chicken wire, and they had a big cast of rednecks in the audience that were throwing beer bottles. But the beer bottles were made of sugar, so that they smash and they didn't really kill anybody. It didn't. Nobody ever got hit. But during the breaks, we would crack them over our heads and stuff like that.
Oh, little
over other people's heads. Yeah, just crazy backstage stuff.
So when we go to Chicago, we can't find Bob's. Bob's is not going to be there.
See. But Curtis Salgado is going to be there, the guy that actually started the Blues Brothers. He's going to be the opening act for, we go on at 9:30 Friday night with John and Jim. Danny and Jim. Curtis Salgado is going to be our opening act. I think he goes on at 7, and then we go up. He goes on at 7 or 8, and we go on at 9:30. So, that's the history of the Blues Brothers right there on the stage. How cool is that?
Is everybody going to be there? Is the band coming back together again?
I don't know. I might be the only original member that will be there. Jim and Dan have their own Blues Brothers band, and it's L.A. musicians. The trumpet player, actually, Darryl Leonard, is a friend of mine from North Texas State from 55 years ago, strangely enough. Yeah, he's a fine blues rock and roll trumpet player, and we haven't played together since we were at North Texas State, so that's going to be fun. And anyway, it's going to be a terrific show. I hope some people come by to see it. And this is kind of the grand opening of the Joliet Prison Blues Brothers Con endeavor. It's as far as I know, a nonprofit organization that Judy and Dan endorsed, and people are already flying in from other countries.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've been talking, with the CEO or the director of the prison, and yes, they've really worked hard. There's been a lot of plans. The Maxwell Street are going to be there days, which is so awesome. This is going to be like a fun weekend for sure. A getaway.
John Lee Hooker, the Maxwell Street scene in the movie was the only really live music. Everything else was, everything that the Blues Brothers did was pre-recorded at a recording studio coincidentally called Universal Studios in Chicago. I don't think there's any relationship to Universal Studios in Los Angeles, but that was the name of the studio. It was where James Brown recorded This Is a Man's World. We were in Chicago the whole month of July recording the soundtrack. And then, so we were basically acting when we were on camera, pretending to play. That's just the way movies are done, and they didn't want to, we can't take that take because we missed a note. No, the director doesn't want to hear that. They want they get the music perfect, and then they want to get the video perfect, and then they want to move on to the next scene.
Right, there's a lot involved, yes. Well, I want to go back over. It's $60 for the 2-day pass, $20 for children. It's very affordable. I'm going to try to be there. I want to be there, and I'm super excited, and I love the whole idea. And this is something that I believe a lot of the Blues Brothers fans and people in general have been wanting. So this is awesome. And I was telling that to bring this eyesore, if you will, the prison. So many buildings are abandoned and in communities, and to actually this is going to bring good money into their community, and this is bringing a revamp for this.
Absolutely, yeah. The town of Joliet can use they can use this to their advantage, yes. And I think they've been made famous by Joliet Jake.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
First scene from the movie where they picked up John at the prison, and it just starts out hilarious.
Oh,
wife and kids, and we drove up to the country house, and 2 times on the way up, police were trailing me. But I guess they called in and the car was clean, and so they backed off. But and the car would not go the speed limit of 55. When it had a linkage to the 4-barrel carburetor somehow in this big V8, and somehow you'd be going 50, and you'd try to push it up a little bit, and when you hit around 55, the car would just jump, and the next thing you knew, you were doing 70. You know, it's designed to chase people down. So, yeah, it was a beast of a car. But
so the cigarette lighter, it didn't work, right?
Well, I didn't smoke anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, that's right. It was kids had a ball that weekend with it.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Yeah, I'm just thinking. I was thinking your wife, what was going through her head at first when she saw it. And then realizing, you know, this is really cool. You know what I mean?
Well, it was a mixed blessing.
She either wanted to kiss or kick you. I'm sure. Well, this is like awesome. And was it just the one vehicle? Usually, like on, they have like 4 or 5, you know, that they use. So it was just the one vehicle, or?
Well, they made a deal. They made a deal for 200 cars for the movie. You know, because they would pile them up all the time. Like, I remember watching the dailies from one of the pilots. There's a pilot for 30 cars underneath the L train in Chicago, and that scene they had 10 drivers, and so they 10 guys piled up, and then the same 10 guys went back and got more cars, and then added to the pile, and then they went back and got 10 more cars and added to the pile. So in the total, it was 30. And when they added it together, it looks like it all happened at the same time. But they made a deal for 200 cars. And one of the scenes, the scene outside the shopping center, remember the scene where they wrecked the shopping center?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, if you notice outside, you know, they filled the parking lot with new cars from a dealership. All the cars were brand new cars in that scene. Nobody really notices that. But yeah, they had a whole bunch of Illinois State Police cars. You know, there was more than one. You know, they just had to have all kinds of backup. And they had there was a guy who had a body shop in Chicago who would stay up all night, and like any of the cars that could be salvaged, he would, you know, bang them back out and paint them, and they'd hit the street the next day. He would reuse them.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he got a good price, thinking, you know, people. I think most people would want one of those. You know, that's pretty awesome to say that you had a car from the show.
They only destroyed 100 cars because that guy would stay up all night. So that's it. Yeah, they only destroyed them. That sounds funny in itself.
No, those are the kind of guys you went like doing demo derbies. Those are the kinds of guys that know how to do things, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah. One guy died in the Blues Brothers 2000. One of the stuntmen.
Oh wow. Did not realize that. Can we go back to the mall scene? So was that we were talking about that the other day. Was that scene actually done like just? It wasn't a real mall, or did they just? Was it?
It was the Dixie Mall, and it had been abandoned for 6 or 7 years.
Okay, I said that. Okay, I was right. Yay. Okay, tell us more.
Well, they filled up the parking lot with real cars, and they furnished all the stores with stuff, so they could destroy it in a number of seconds. Yeah.
I was just like, you know, Pier 1 imports. I mean, they're like, there's some, like, it's funny to see the stores, and then they're talking about it as they're driving.
Oh, yeah. Some of that commentary is very funny.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So that was actually, and where is that mall? Where is it located at? In Chicago?
Well, it's in or around Chicago. I couldn't tell you exactly where it was. I wasn't there that day. You know, that was we were in the studio recording the soundtrack when they shot that scene. But yeah, all I know is the Dixie Mall, and it was an abandoned place, and they just rented it for long enough to fix it up and destroy it.
Yeah. We're gonna fix this up, and then we're gonna destroy it. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So let's find out, for anybody listening, will there be like a meet and greet? Will anyone get to talk to you? Any of the people coming up to Chicago, or? I'm
sure they have something lined up like that. I'm sure there is some coordination of the event. I'm sure they're doing that. And I wish I knew if there were any other original people showing up. But it would certainly be nice to see, Lou Marini or Murphy Dunn or Murphy lives out here. We just went out to dinner 2 or 3 weeks ago. But it sure would be nice to see some of the old guys. Willie Hall, Steve Cropper, Duck Dunn. Duck is gone. Guitar Murphy's gone. Yeah, Alan Rubin's gone. But it'd be nice to see some of the soul survivors, so to speak.
Absolutely. So you don't have rehearsal? You're just going to go and how did how does this work?
I can just walk on stage, and I wrote all the horn arrangements myself, for the Blues Brothers. So I can just walk on stage and play the parts on whatever instrument they want.
That's just you make it look so easy. You know that has to be a God thing. You know very good and well that not I don't know anybody else that could just do this like that.
Well, I've only been playing professionally for 60 years, so.
Well, I get that, but so can I just ask, does anyone ever make a little bit of a mistake, and if that is, do you just roll on or just kind of get a little chuckle? And because you're doing many hours, playing many hours, and with many different people.
Well, you're as a professional musician, if you miss a note, you can't just stop playing. No.
Right.
You don't. It doesn't slow you down at all. You just leave it behind and try to play better next time. That's I don't miss very many notes, but if I do, the ball keeps rolling, the song keeps going. You don't. That's just part of real life.
So let's get to meet you just a little bit more. What do you do when you're not playing music?
Sometimes I listen to music. I like to go for walks in the neighborhood. I like to exercise. I do weights. I do 400 crunches every day. I try to eat healthy. I like to cook on the grill outside. I like to swim. We have a swimming pool in the backyard now, and hang out with my wife. And everything else besides playing is just wonderful.
Now, do you find when people invite you over, maybe for dinner, they want you to play?
Well, sometimes you go to a musician's house and you do play. Yeah.
I just think that would be awesome. Yeah. That's me. Your own little private concert there.
That happens sometimes.
I would hope it would happen if I was your neighbor. Definitely. Well, I think I think it's good, and I love that and I think it's important to tell that you do take care of yourself, and that's very important. You know that, and of course your busy lifestyle, you kind of have to. It's important to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my travel schedule is sometimes crazy. I'm getting up at 3:30 to go to the airport, and I just have to take care of yourself. You have to eat healthy.
Yeah.
My wife is a nutritional consultant. She has a PhD in holistic nutrition.
Awesome.
She has a lot of famous clients, which I'm. Anyways, so yeah, a lot of real famous actress clients, and so we eat healthy. Like we don't eat white sugar. We don't eat white flour. We don't eat white pasta. We only eat whole grain, healthy stuff. And so, I got to take care of myself. I'm 75 years old. My doctor says I'm going to 100.
I love that.
Well, I'll take that.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. Well, I think that's good to know. And it's always kind of a fun fact because everybody does different, how they take care of themselves or what they do. So I appreciate you sharing that part. But so this coming Friday, you'll be up the next Friday, a week from today. Let me get that straight because today is Friday. Sorry, I need more coffee too. But you'll be up there, and it's going to be a great time. And I believe that and that to me the price is very affordable. $60 for 2 days, $20 for children, and it's going to be a fun time. They've worked hard on having, of course, the great music you guys are going to be playing. They've also worked hard on making making it look like some of the scenes actually are going to be recreated there in the prison.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be, and I think the concert starts around 2:30 in the afternoon or something like that. I mean, it's going to be a long concert of great music.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. and there's going to be, they said there's going to be like, you know, like merchandise you can get, which will be
all kinds of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, and of course setting up the Maxwell Street Days there will be kind of a fun environment. I just think that they worked very hard on this, and I think it's going to be something that I believe this is going to catch on, and this is going to be something that's going to be a tradition.
I'm calling it the Blues Brothers Museum.
I love that.
For lack of a better term, they have Blues Brothers Coffee, but that's what I'm thinking of it as, a museum to immortalize Jake and Elwood and the music and the band and Chicago and all these different scenes.
Right.
I wonder if the Aretha Franklin lunch counter, where that's going to be recreated.
I don't know. I would love that. I don't know.
Get out loud.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? For sure. Something else, you know, I mean, the Blues Brothers actually put this, you know, back on the map and actually saved this prison. You know, I would hate to think, you know, if people did not fall in love with this and fall in love with the Blues Brothers and everyone, you know, all of you guys, you know, this prison probably would have been bulldozed over or, you know, I mean, or something, right, or blew up or whatever, however they get a building out of there, you know, or, you know, because the community wouldn't have fallen in love with it as much if the Blues Brothers didn't write their love story to Chicago.
Well, it's kind of a reversal, you know. Like I don't think, you know, if I lived next door to a prison, you know, I wouldn't feel that positive about it. But at the same time, now we're turning the prison into a positive location.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's all about happiness and about music and about you know, iconic movie, and I think it's a great thing for the community.
I would be, if I was the neighbor, I'd be taking selfies, and I would say, my title would be, I'm on a mission from God.
now we're talking.
Yeah, well, I think this is going to be so much fun, so I can't wait. Hopefully I'll get to meet you, and maybe we can take a selfie together, okay? I would love that.
I would look forward to that, you know, doing some station promos for you, or whatever we can do to keep the ball rolling here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so honored to talk to you, to get this interview. I was kind of nervous all week long, knowing that Friday was coming and you were going to be, because you really, I mean, you're very, you're a great interview for sure, but you've done so many great things, and I appreciate you sharing your story, and what a beautiful story, and what great doors have opened for you, and what great opportunities, and we just can't wait to see what's around the river bend next for you.
Well, it was a pleasure to talk with you, and I was honored that you invited me to be on your show.
Well, thank you so much. Well, listen, we're going to let you, you can either, 5 o'clock in the morning, you can either watch the sunrise or go back to bed. So, but thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate your stories and your time this morning. Very valuable, and we hopefully will see you a week from today.
I will look forward, and keep playing that good music for your audience.
I appreciate that. You keep playing that good music too for us, okay?
I promise.
All right, thank you, Tom Malone. Thank you so much.
Have a good morning.
You too, and thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
How awesome
is that?
I can't even imagine pulling it together. I mean, like, not to laugh.
How
you know,
could you
I mean,
not
I don't
practice?
even. I can't even imagine, like, trying to play an instrument. Okay, like, think about, like, here you are trying to play an instrument, and here, like, I know they recorded it and others, but still, like, not to, you know how I get laughing and I can't stop. I mean,
Well, yeah.
and I would have to really pull it. I'd have to either be biting my tongue or stepping on my own toe
Something.
to make myself not crack up laughing. You know, I
Yes.
can't even imagine.
He's just gonna walk on the stage next Friday.
Come on,
Oh,
who does that?
my Lance.
Yeah.
I wrote all the songs.
Yeah, I know. I know. Isn't that-
Amazing of
Yeah.
a person. Holy
And how
guacamole.
nice is he? I mean, how wonderful. I mean, to play on Letterman and Saturday Night Live.
He was just so down to earth. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't feel entitled about any of it. He felt
no, and he worked
grateful
his
that
tail
those
end off.
doors
I mean,
opened for him.
Yeah, and like he made it, you know, I mean, learning those instruments. I mean, do you realize, like, okay, like in the beginning, the tuba, like to go home, how much practice and how much
thing
time.
takes a ton of air and it's heavy.
Yes, and the practice of that, and then to go on from the instruments and learn them all. And like he's
And
very
basically self-taught most of them.
yeah.
From the sound of it.
Yeah.
How amazing!
I mean, I can't imagine that much. I mean, you talk about dedication.
Absolutely.
And he's not even talking like the hours he had to spend to get to be where he's at.
Absolutely.
That's just, I can't even. Yeah. I think it's very encouraging too, though. I love that because, you know, going back in schools, a lot of times schools, there's children that want to play instruments, but they can't afford the instruments.
Absolutely.
We've learned that a lot with schools. And that's where a lot of your celebrities and your people are actually donating instruments to schools.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of sponsors for that. And I love that. And I know that there's a lot of music instructors or music teachers that will try to keep instruments on hand for such students that maybe that cannot, you know, get or afford the instruments. Because instruments can be pricey.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. You know what I mean? And that's cool that, you know, we got a couple of tubas over here. We've got a couple of tubas over here that need some attention.
Absolutely. Give them some love.
That's right. And they did. And they did. And here's the thing. They make every instrument, you know, look awesome. You know what I mean? Every instrument looks attractive, you know, because of them. Because of him.
Absolutely.
You know? So that's so cool. Yeah, I think it's above and beyond. It blows my mind, Laura. It blows my mind.
You and me both.
So, I'll be thinking about this all day long. This will be on my mind all day long.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting there. If you see me looking dazed, I'm thinking, how does he do that?
Oh my God.
That's what
I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine.
If someone asks me a question today and I don't have a quick response, it's because I'm over here in my mind pondering how does Tom Malone do all that he does? Okay, so yeah.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. So Dan Aykroyd and Jim Belushi, and which those two just completely make me just crack up. I just even saying their names, but they perform at 9:30, and so anyway, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the 19th and 20th at the old Joliet Prison, right there in Chicago. So in Chicago. So it's going to be so much fun. So that's going to be awesome, and you can go and get tickets, and pretty awesome for sure.
It's, oh my gosh, it's going to be a huge celebration from the sound of it.
Yeah, I think this is something that everybody loves the connection. You know, and you even go to like Universal Studios in Florida, and like they have like they'll bring out the Blues Brothers, and when they do, like the crowd runs after the car. They'll be in the car. I've been a part of that, and they'll be in the car, and people go crazy over that. So I mean, there is so much love, and there's so many, you know. I mean, and for anybody, maybe for somebody that's a little bit younger that has not got to witness this or be a part, maybe if they come coming on the 19th or 20th, they will fall in love with the Blues Brothers like all the rest of us, you know. So you need to bring your children and introduce them, and they made it children friendly. So I love that. So it can be a family get together, and just like he said, they're flying in from everywhere. So.
Absolutely, they are.
So. All right, real quick, we do need to say this is the 12th day of August. Today is Baseball Fans Day. Hats off to all the baseball fans out there, and let's go Cincinnati Reds.
Absolutely.
Which I want to just tread lightly on this, but you know, we get the caravan here. They come to the station or come to our community, and we host that, and they are talking, with COVID, they had to stop it, but they are talking about maybe revamping that if everything goes well, so yay! We're excited about that. Of course, we love the Reds, and that Fields of Dreams, started last night, so awesome on that. And let's see here, also this is International Youth Day. Yeah, I love that.
That's a good one.
And you know, something that, you know, if you speak a different language and you don't maybe know, you can't go wrong. The universal, and especially for a child, is a smile.
Absolutely.
Give a smile. I love that. National Fries Day. Yeah, I love, you can't beat a good French fry. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's just like, you know, you try, just like Tom Malone talking about eating healthy, but every now and then you just gotta.
You have to have a fry.
I'm telling you, it's just like, and they keep bringing out all different kinds of fries.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, from your shoestring fries to your crinkle fries to your sweet potato fries. I know all there is to know about waffle
curly fries.
Curly fries. All there is to know about fries, right?
Me too.
National Middle Child Day. We talked about that. Autumn Scott Hall talked about the birth order, and we talked about the birth order, and it's very interesting for sure. National Sewing Machine Day. I used to sew on my sewing machine. Not very good, just a little bit. I'm not anything. I don't even remember now how to thread the needle, but. You sewed on the sewing machine?
I'm left-handed, so it always falls apart.
Well,
It's
now
terrible.
Well, you know, they always, I didn't realize it, so there's a difference. I mean, I know you're left-handed, but I mean, so that would make a big difference in some of the things.
But everyone that tried to show me was right-handed, so the way they were showing me was backwards, and I never could get the hang of it.
But it's different, it's cool to hear the different things like that, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would have never thought of that.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Makes a difference, I guess. Yeah, it would make a difference. Do they make left-handed sewing machines? I guess.
I have no idea.
I
I was
bet they
never
do.
intrigued enough to try to figure it out because I never could get anything to even hold together.
Well, I bet if you kind of had a bad taste on that.
Ooh, it was
Yeah.
awful.
So now they make sewing machines where they're just like computerized.
Absolutely.
So that's
Program, and I could probably do that.
Yeah, we can do that. We're all about that. Yeah. Truck Driver Day. Hats off to all of our truck drivers out there.
Absolutely, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think Matthew Magner listens often, so I'm going to give him a big shout out today. And all the truck drivers, you know, and they are so cool. And you talk about hours, and if Brian Larimer's listening, and some of the great ones that are on the road, you know, hats off and shout out to them. You know, the truck drivers. Yeah. This is also Vinyl Record Day. Here we go. Full of this. My studio is full of vinyl records.
Absolutely.
And I love my vinyl records. And nothing sounds better than a vinyl record. Yeah, absolutely. World Elephant Day. Love elephants.
Yeah.
I like the faithfulness of an elephant. I like their faithfulness. You know, they're pretty cool. So there are days to get out and enjoy for sure. This is also Football Friday. We have some scrimmages going on tonight. Exciting.
Absolutely. Super exciting.
Yeah.
Salem's traveling to Madison.
Yeah. Always that first one, you know, first scrimmage. So we'll see what happens with that. Looks like the weather's going to be great. And a little bit cooler weekend. So for anybody that's got stuff to do and get done outside, good opportunity to do that.
Absolutely.
We are still in the summer. You know, everybody's holding on to it. You know, even though school has started, football started, and we start thinking, our minds start, you know, and of course all that pumpkin spice stuff has started.
Absolutely.
And everybody's jumping into that, but we are still officially in the summer, and people are holding on to that.
I haven't started the pumpkin spice yet.
Yeah. I've seen people buying it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I have not.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, my land is everywhere.
But you know, when McDonald's, when they make that announcement that the pumpkin spices hit McDonald's, they sell out.
Oh, yeah.
So you do have to get it. Straight with
The pumpkin pie.
The pumpkin pie, little, tarts or whatever they call them. Yeah, pies. They're at McDonald's. Yeah.
It's like a pumpkin pie.
And you only get those
cream
for a
cheese
little
or
while.
something.
And yes,
Yum.
everybody loves those. And you only get those are just like seasonal.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want your pumpkin spice coffee and your pumpkin spice,
No, I just like regular coffee with the pumpkin spice little pie. I'll usually get one every season. And
you gotta do that. Yeah, they go quickly. Just good reminders for everyone.
Absolutely, watch for them,
Yeah,
people.
definitely,
They'll be out.
definitely. Also, the state fair. Don't forget, we gave away gobs of tickets for
Oh,
that.
my land.
Yeah,
They
and-
give gobs of tickets.
Absolutely, and reminding people too that you got Beach Bend Park there is open and full throttle. Holiday World's still going strong. I'm trying to think of all the things going on. There's so much going on. McDonald's, don't forget, they have great birthday parties, and so no matter what the weather, you don't have to worry about that. The food, the fun, is all included, even cakes included in that. So I know there's a lot of things that are going on this weekend, and I'm trying to remember them all. I've misplaced my notes. People are texting me. Yes. So yeah. So all kinds of activities going on. So, and of course this is going to be a beautiful weekend to do that.
Absolutely.
So good weekend, and of course you have your
Clinicals.
You're getting through them. So this is like, you've got one more to go after today,
Yes.
after this weekend?
After this weekend.
I told you, time really has gone by quickly, hasn't it?
Yes, thank heaven.
Yeah.
Thank heaven that happened.
I love that for sure. So also, this is a good time. A lot of people are getting fresh garden stuff.
Yes.
And
It was National Farmers Market Week, so actually Meadowview, if anyone follows their Facebook page, they had the farmers market. They brought it to the residents, and they got to go through and pick out their own veggies and wash them and eat them. And oh my lands, they were so excited. I snapped a few pictures and put on our Facebook, but they had such a great time yesterday doing that. It was great.
Yeah. I love the fresh produce.
Oh.
And this is the time. Strike when the iron is hot. This is it. Those tomatoes are just like, ooh.
They had tomatoes and cucumbers and jalapenos and pumpkins. They had little mini pumpkins and yellow peppers.
It's early for pumpkins. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. And don't forget about the melons. Oh, the cantaloupes, the watermelons. This is the time to get it all.
Absolutely.
Corn on the cob. Yeah. All of it. Every bit of it. Yeah. You better get it when it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people are canning and freezing, but you also need to, be eating.
Absolutely.
So good time for sure. All right, Laura, thanks for hanging out with me, and that was a fun interview with Tom Malone, and can't wait to hear more from him and just see what all he's. I don't even know what his next adventure would even be. I mean, he just sounds like he's just. He is a shaker and a mover. Yeah, a lot of energy, and again, he was up at 5 in the morning. What a cool interview, and he didn't sound like he didn't sound groggy or anything.
Exhausted, nothing.
No, he's
True.
pretty impressive.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
impressive. Yeah. So let's thank our sponsors.
Absolutely. We want to thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Hoosier Uplands, Celebrity Home Loans, Dr. Box Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, and Fox Purley Wealth Management.
Okay, thank you to our great sponsors. Everyone have a wonderful and a great Friday morning. Let's do this, right?
Absolutely. Happy Friday.
Remember when you had your birthday party at McDonald's, playing with your family and friends, enjoying cake and that one-of-a-kind McDonald's food and drink? If you're looking for a fun and safe place to have a party for your children or grandchildren, look no further. Party time is back at McDonald's right here in Salem, Mitchell, and West Baden. That's right, hosted birthday parties are back, baby! Call event coordinator Renee Lewis at 812-788-0126 to schedule your birthday for Salem, Mitchell, or West Baden today. The party includes food and drink for up to 10 guests, with your choice of white or chocolate cake, ice cream for each child, a gift for the birthday boy or girl, goodie bags for each child, and a festive decorated party area. Parties at Salem allow children to play, while the McDonald's in Mitchell